So guys, today's video is going to be about creating an effective SEO and link building strategy for a local business website. Now, when it comes to a local business, having to utilize facets of marketing such as SEO and social media is just as important. And just because you're relying on local business doesn't mean that it can't be done. Okay, yes, it tends to be national websites or global businesses which concentrate most on online marketing, but it can be done with a local business as well. With the right SEO and link building strategy, you can reach your ideal customers. There's no magic bullet that's going to help you do it though. It's going to need an overall strategy, a plan. You'll have to use amazing quality content, you'll have to dial in your on-page factors, you'll have to engage in social media, various aspects to it as well. But if you read on, I'm going to kind of break down the process, help you find all the pieces of the puzzle, and that should get you on the way there. First thing is keyword research. Now, this is one of the first steps to getting to know your target audience, and that's knowing exactly what people are going to be searching for and what they're looking for. Now, Google does use localized search results to show the most relevant businesses for the user in relation to their actual location, but you still need to know the sorts of phrases they're putting into the search bar. You know, you can use tools such as Google Keyword Planner or the Keywords Everywhere plugin. There's a few more like Ubersuggest and keywordtool.io. You can then find these broad keywords. Your best bet when you're starting out is to go with the kind of more long tail keywords, you know, things which have lower search volume but are kind of lower hanging fruit. So you really do need to know your market, you need to know your users and what they're searching for. It's gonna obviously differ according to your niche and your industry, so this is something you need to do yourself or hire somebody in to do. When it comes to SEO, this is everyone's first port of call. The majority of site owners are right for looking at this part first. You know, after all, it's the only way search engines like Google are going to recognize exactly what you should be ranking for, and that's by analyzing what's actually on your site. Now, I'm not going to go into excruciating detail on this, but if you can get the basics right, that will leave most of the bases covered. You know, you can get a good guide from somebody like Matt Diggity Marketing, his website is, and he has a really good site which is almost like a good practice guide to on-page SEO factors. That will give you a good foundation to build on top of. So that's going to involve making sure your pages on the site are targeting your most valuable local keywords. You know, this is where your keyword research is going to pay off. You have to use the keywords within those pages, making sure they're in the meta tags, the titles, and within the content. And then where necessary, you may need to use some kind of silo site structure. Now, that involves interlinking your hub pages, which are the pages targeting your keywords, to your content pages. And the content pages, I'll discuss this in more detail later. Having a good linking structure, interlinking structure, make sure that any authority flows into your site. It's going to be, once it does flow in, it's going to be distributed across the whole site, and you won't have any pages which are neglected or that are buried too deep in the, you know, inside the site. You know, at the same time though, I do find a lot of people overcomplicating or even overdoing the on-page stuff. Don't make the mistake of over-optimizing here or trying to overstuff pages full of keywords, or trying to target, you know, hundreds of keywords right at the start. You know, that could have the opposite effect of what you're trying to achieve. Now, funneling customer reviews, this is a good one. If you can build up loads of positive reviews from customers, whether that's Google reviews or TripAdvisor, Yelp, you know, whatever one is most suited to your business, it's only going to add to your trust and reputation. Sites such as Yelp, they'll allow you to have a page within their site, you know, which is almost like an extra kind of digital asset. You know, you'll get a no-follow link. Okay, the no-follow link has no inherent SEO benefit, although there may be a small amount there, but it's more about funneling a bit of direct traffic your way. You can run special offers or discounts from those pages. You can even link to your business social media account. Again, gives potential customers a way of following and engaging with your business, drives a bit of traffic as well. And this stage is going to be the most crucial one when it comes especially to building links, and that's going to be creating amazing quality content. This is an absolute must. It's an often neglected part of online marketing for probably 90% of businesses out there, especially the local businesses. But if you want to create a truly effective white hat SEO strategy, this is an absolute must. Creating content that's useful to your audience. Once you've created good content, you keep on doing it. It's a process which never stops. When I say useful content, what I mean is something that your ideal audience would find super informative, funny, cool, interesting, unique. It could be in various forms. It doesn't have to be written format. It can be, it can be articles, it can be videos, podcasts, infographics, whatever is the most appropriate way of getting the info across. Now, there's no hard and fast rule to get this part right, and not every piece of content you make is going to be a hit with your audience, but it's a few methods you can use to inspire you and create good content ideas. So you can look at, for instance, competitors or similar businesses in other major cities. You can use a tool such as BuzzSumo, Ahrefs Content Explorer, and see what the most shared content in your industry talks about. You can look at maybe popular industry forums and find out the kind of questions people ask there, particular pain points that they're experiencing, and then maybe even conducting surveys with your customers and find out from them the kind of things they're interested in or whether they have questions about. Just a few ideas. Key thing is just make sure that it's truly valuable content that people would actively read and engage with. If it's content you yourself would appreciate, then you're onto something, However, the minute you start creating boring content or you're trying to create filler content to target certain keywords, or you're just going through the motions, then you're not going to create content which hits the mark. It's not going to have the results that you're looking for. And there's never really going to be, as I said, there's never going to be a stage where you've finished your content. It's a case of continually creating new ideas, being innovative, engaging with your audience, and constantly keeping your website fresh and updated with content. And okay, you're probably thinking, right, so what's the point of all this, creating all this content when you don't have any traffic? Well, this is the next part of the strategy, and that's where you're going to capitalize on this content, and that is link building. Once you've got the foundations of your website done, you've targeted your keywords, you've got a good solid content plan going forward, the next stage is going to be about linking with other websites which are related or that are adjacent to your business, what it's about, and to its content. So the reason you want to use link building effectively is, well, it's due to it being a really important ranking factor. Gone are the days where all you have to do is throw a website up, get your on-page factors ranked near the top. You have to do more than that in most industries now. A lot of business owners are more clued up about SEO and online marketing. In order to go up a level, you need to beat the competition, and that next level is going to be looking at your off-page factors, so i.e. link building. Now, there's three main benefits of building links, which are driving direct referral traffic from that site to your own. The more relevant the traffic is, the more likely is it will then turn into customers, even local footfall if they are in the right location. Organic search traffic, links act almost as votes within search engines like Google. The more of these links that they see, the more value they place on the site that's being linked to. And if you've been targeting your local keywords very effectively, that should mean you'll start to rank even better for those local terms, and then that'll drive some local search traffic to your site. Brand awareness as well. Once you start to get featured or linked to on more and more sites, especially on websites which are maybe very location relevant, brand awareness is going to come into play as well. Your brand will start to get recognised. How do you build links? So the most efficient way of doing this is by using personalised and super targeted email outreach. Now, once you know exactly the type of content you're going to be making, it will then be a case of finding other sites which are related to the content subject and perhaps are talking about something similar. You approach them, ask if they'd like to link to your content piece from theirs. Don't be too pushy here. Follow up with them a few times, not too much though. Just be polite there, and until you basically get a rejection or you get a link. Now, if you do this part correctly, you should yield a link, at least 5 to 10% cases. Bear in mind, building links kind of rides on all factors, kind of things like content quality, whether you're targeting the right websites, if you have the right approach when you contact them. This is all going to come into play, and if you get the content wrong, almost impossible to build any links to it, because no matter how good your outreach is, how amazing your approach is, how on point your targeting is, you can't build links to bad content. So when it comes to finding places to get links from, however, assuming we've got the content right, this will give you some ideas. So good one is local newspapers. There's a lot of local traffic that's going to be residing on newspapers which cover your local area or region, and really good for brand awareness as well. There could even be a particular journalist within that newspaper who writes about things around your subject of industry, so always approach them first. Local bloggers as well, influencers in your local area could drive a decent amount of traffic, whether that's via link or being featured in the blog, or maybe even the social media. You might have to do a bit of a value exchange here, such as paying a sponsored fee, offering them free product, or promoting them on your own social media. Just weigh up the benefit in terms of the size of their reach, how much influence they have. Maybe even other local businesses which are vertically relevant, i.e. related but not doing exactly what you're doing. So for example, an immigration law firm linking to a law firm which specialises in compensation claims, something like that. Local businesses where you can create bridging content, so seemingly not related, but with the right content, an angle could be related. So think of an immigration law firm getting a link from a local travel or tourism blog, with a content piece about visa applications, something like this. So this is just a taster of the entire process, even though this is a pretty long video, but it's a solid foundation for you to build on top of. So the key take homes from this are: make sure you have your basic on-page factors on point, leverage as much of your local reviews as possible, create content which attracts interest, engages with your potential customers, and then lastly, build links to both drive direct traffic and to enhance your ranking to drive even more local traffic. And there's just one last thing I want you to remember, and that is, don't forget to enjoy this. And this is an aspect I think maybe gets lost in a lot of business owners. When you create amazing content and you create it with drive and with passion, providing value to others around you, and when you start providing true value, you'll build a level of trust and respect, and you'll reach out to other businesses, bloggers or trusted authorities, and they'll see this value as well, and that's when you'll start to see amazing results. So guys, I'll end the video there. Thanks for watching. Hope that wasn't too heavy, wasn't too confusing, but obviously anything you want to clarify, if you want to ask, email me, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks very much.